We are back, people, and Rúben Amorim has been sacked. If you ask me, it's been a long time coming. My brother AU, what are you saying? Man United fan here?
Yeah, to be honest, I think with the results that he was doing, definitely was not good enough at all. But I was thinking that they actually had faith in him, and I was thinking they were going to keep him in charge for longer. But I think he pretty much hung his own neck on the noose. To be honest, I think he pretty much kicked himself out the door. But yeah, I think with the results and everything, and looking back at his tenure, once everything is said and done, I think it was pretty poor. So he could have no complaints. I think they gave him a lot more grace than what he probably was needing to be extended, I would say.
So, was you expecting this to happen? I don't.
I was not. I was not expecting him to get sacked at all. So, with the way the board were talking about him, saying that, oh, they even used to bring up Arteta, saying, oh, yeah, Arteta at Arsenal, look at what he's doing now. He got given a good amount of time to build the squad. They finished eighth a couple times. And then after that, they managed to gradually build the squad that now they're one of the best teams in Europe. So, that's how Jim Ratcliffe was speaking initially. Just like late last year, he was talking like that. I think around about November times he came out with these type of quotes. So in my mind, I was already thinking that okay, so even if he doesn't have another great season now, they're still thinking that if they give him at least more time, like at least the duration of his contract, then at the end of that, then they can then start evaluating things at that stage. But I think the main thing that pushed them to the edge that they just thought, okay, no, we need to get rid of this guy was his press conference because my guy literally just crashed out for no reason. The question that they asked him, there was no need for his response for that. And as soon as he made that type of response, I was just like, yeah, this is a crash out. And then after that, I wasn't surprised he got sacked after that, to be honest, because if anything that was going on at the club, I think the one group of people that always had his back and defended him publicly was the board. Everybody else was vilifying him. Media was saying that what's going on with him, he's not doing well. Social media was all rinsing him. The board was the one constant that kept on saying, "No, give him time. He's a Man United manager. We'll give him time to prove himself." And then he basically just hung them out to dry. So then at the end of the day, they were just like, "Yeah, do you know what? We backed this guy for so long. He's not even doing that well, and now he's throwing us under the bus." So it just got to the stage where they just had to kick him out the door, really. And I can't even blame them. To be honest, if I was the board and I heard him doing that, especially with the way I've been backing him, I think I'd have to fire him as well. I can't even lie. Like the one group of people that were backing you is the ones that you go against. Like that's so. I think he clearly just probably wanted to go.
Bro. So I've been stuck in my own perpetual hell with West Ham in it. So I've been kind of like obscure from like football stuff. But he did a press conference before Leeds, right? And apparently he was a little bit sort of you could sense what I heard from David Ornstein was basically you could sense there was something off from the pre Leeds match.
Mm.
And he had a meeting with Jason
Yeah,
Wilcox.
yeah. He had that meeting with Jason Wilcox where they were saying where he literally had a meeting saying that with the squad they seem uncomfortable and not trusting the formation. That maybe you should try changing the formation. So I think after that meeting, he was just like, I'm going to be doing things my way. If you're not going to accept it my way, then I'm going to go, basically. So I think that's kind of what pushed him over the edge. But the crazy thing about this whole situation is when he did change the formation against Newcastle, the team actually won and they played pretty decent in that game as well. And they defended a lot better as well. They actually kept a clean sheet. That's like the first clean sheet we've kept in a long time. But for some reason, I think just out of pure stubbornness, he decided to go back to the three at the back when clearly, especially with all the players that we have either out injured or at the AFCON, the four at the back probably suits the players that we have now more than what he's trying to do. But I think in his mind, especially because now the board started coming and saying, okay, maybe try this and see if this works. I think that made him be even more stubborn and think, no, I have to stick to my guns even more and play out this three at the back, regardless of whether or not he even probably thought it was a good decision as well, himself. So I think it was more of just a position of defiance rather than what he actually thought was necessarily best for the club in itself, which is very crazy because you would think a manager is supposed to be able to adapt. Like this is what I was saying at the start of the season. He's the one manager that it seems like he feels adaptation is compromising when the whole part of being a manager is to be able to adapt and compromise. you're not going to have the same situation in every team that you go to. Like if you look at the top managers don't go to the different clubs and do the exact same thing over and over again. They look at the players they have, they look at how the direction football is going in, and then they make adjustments and say, okay, do you know what? In this situation I'm in, maybe I can't play exactly like this, but with the players I have, I think these type of formations or this type of style of football will suit these type of players more. Even for everybody that used to even vilify somebody like a Ten Hag, Ten Hag actually changed how he played. He came in his first few games. He tried to get the gear to play out the back. It just was not working. We got pumped by Brentford or Bournemouth? Got pumped by them like 4-0. And then after that game, you were just like, yeah, this is not working. We need to be more of a transitional team. We need to get the ball from back to front a bit quicker, because trying to play out from the back at this stage with the goalkeeper we have, with the defenders that we have, it's not the best idea for us to play out from the back. So he literally took 4 games and he had a philosophy where I'm going to play out from the back. I'm going to control possession. These are my tenets of my play style that I want to keep wherever I go. But even him, somebody that even they would say he's even quite a stubborn guy, he adapted and changed even. And people used to criticize him, saying how bad and how terrible a manager he is. But it seems like with this guy, he just didn't want to. And even when he got pushed into a situation where, because a lot of defenders are out, he had to potentially adapt and go to a back 4, and it worked. He just decides, okay, I'm still going to go and revert back to my 3 at the back, even though he came out in a press conference and said, oh, the players that I have, we would have to spend millions and millions to play the type of 3 at the back that I want to play. So then, if you know this and you're saying this yourself, why are you still playing the formation that you yourself have said at the press conference that it will take hundreds of millions and a lot of money for you to play the style of football you would want in the 3 of the back? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, so I don't really get it. So I think one big red flag was the adaptability thing. He just completely refused to adapt, even when he was forced into adaptation, and even as that adaptation came and started bringing some results, he still ended up reverting back to what he always knew in the past. So it's a very crazy thing.
Rúben Amorim. My take, not being a United fan, but just like growing up with United being the club that it was in the period that we grew up, that I grew up seeing what the club was, the standards and stuff like that. Like, even if you're not a fan of it, like, you can see what Fergie and etc. etc.
Yep.
I mean, first and foremost, I could say that what I've analyzed over Rúben Amorim's period is that Man United fans, especially the match going fans, are like literally some of the most tolerant, patient fans out there, because he's had, I would say, 3 or 4 sackable offences. When he took over, the club were not in a great place in the terms of where their league position was. They were coming off the back of finishing 8th and winning the FA Cup. So Ten Hag kind of saved his job by winning the FA Cup. That's another thing. This board, say what you want about them, they are kind of loyal to their managers, because Ten Hag finished 8th. He won the FA Cup. They gave him a new contract.
So I think he finished 6th. He finished 6th, didn't he?
Where he finished between, where he finished, he didn't finish in.
Yeah, he didn't finish in the top 4 basically.
But he finished in positions that Man United are used to finishing.
Yeah. I think he finished like 6th. So obviously, still.
He won the FA Cup and they backed him. They gave him a contract, gave him a transfer window, bought players that, seemingly like De Ligt, Xerxes, they're players that he's familiar with, players that he would have signed off on. Anyway, Amorim comes in and he ends up finishing 15th. When he came in, United were 4 points off top 4.
I think we were like 6th. Yeah, we were like 6th when he joined. We were just outside the top 4. Yeah, so we were like 6th.
Offense. The second sackable offense is obviously losing to Tottenham in a Europa League final. That's a sackable offense. Losing to Grimsby as Manchester United manager in 2025. We're in 26 now, but in 2025, when that happened, I've grown up with United fans. Like, I know the standards of this club. Like, that is unacceptable. Even if he had won the Europa League at the back end of that season, finished, let's say, 6th, Losing to Grimsby is a sackable offence when you're Man United manager, in my opinion. So that was 3 sackable offences. The stubbornness, the ego, the lack of emotional control. I just think that Man United have, they freed themselves from darkness here by getting rid of Amorim. Like, I was of the opinion that he could have gone a long, long time ago. There's nothing like, there's nothing to hate on here, like in terms of Rúben Amorim as a person. This is just facts. Man United as a club backed him, supported him, gave him grace, gave him leeway, and he consistently showed that he had no self-reflection. He couldn't look at himself and what he was putting out and reflect on that and improve going forward.
Yeah.
He was too egotistical, in my opinion, and Man United have done themselves a favor.
Yeah.
By getting rid of him.
I agree with what you are saying. So yeah, I think he just basically shot himself in the foot. Like I said, there's just certain things as a manager that all the top managers have in them. They're able to adapt. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of what is a manager. You're supposed to look at certain situations that you're in, look at certain opposition that you're going up against, and think, okay, what are the best things I can do to help my team win this game? What are these opponents' weaknesses? How can I use my players to exploit these weaknesses? But
I
it's
just
like
think it's
he
bonkers
he didn't decide to do that. He didn't he didn't
look at
he
this.
wasn't able to.
This was the guy the next day.
Yeah, he's happy. He's happy. He's
Rúben
happy.
Amorim.
Yeah,
Rúben
he's
Amorim.
happy. He's happy he went.
Man
He's happy he
United
went.
in England is the biggest job in the country. It's the biggest
He
club.
just he
Like,
was
whether
happy
you like
too.
it or not, if you support Arsenal, like when you talk about history, you pound for pound, Man United, like even still, like even City can do what they want to do. Pound for pound, United is the biggest club in the country. So having that job, and this is someone that's speaking as not a supporter, so I don't support that club, but let's keep it neutral and balanced. Having that job is still the biggest job in the country. Chelsea, you can Liverpool, United job. Like, so Rúben Amorim to have this smug look the next day, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think he's a failure on many levels. He's got the worst winning percentage of any United manager.
Yeah.
The fans actually supported you. The board actually supported you, even with your terrible winning percentage. Like, we're talking about, you couldn't win. You're talking about winning 1 in 3. That's your record. You've never won more than 3 games in a row at Man United.
Yep, it's crazy. It's actually
And
crazy.
people weren't outside your door hounding for you to lose your job. Like,
Exactly.
they put up with it, bro. Let's just deep that. Your winning record is a win in every 3 games.
Yeah.
At Man United.
Mm-hmm.
Inshallah, take your compensation pay and go back to Portugal, bro.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. But this is the thing. I think one thing that I found out about this situation anyway is I think initially when he took the job, I think this is one thing that I think a lot of managers struggle with. I think the only managers that probably got the situation were managers like Van Gaal, managers like Mourinho, and then even a Solskjaer because he just understands what the club is and because from playing for the club that he understands the size of the club. But I think one thing that a lot of the managers that we've got in have struggled with is the actual size of the club. So even when Amram first took the job, one of the things that he was like when he did his first press conference, he was like, "Oh, like I've got another interview I need to do. Like it's already been like since 6 interviews I've done." And it's just like when you just think about those type of reactions, you just kind of picture his type of situation. He's come over from Sporting Lisbon. So no disrespect to Sporting Lisbon, extremely big club in Portugal. But when it comes to a club like the size of Man United, you're not just talking about in one country. You're talking about a
Globally.
global brand, like across the world. Like the amount of fans that United have in Africa, Asia, they have like the biggest in terms of like actual fan base. I think in terms of fans, I think United probably have the most fans in the world. They dominate Asia. They dominate in Africa. Like in these type of markets, they have massive fan bases. In China, they're like the biggest club. Like all the Chinese people support Man United. All the people in like in Singapore, all these places, they're all Man United fans. And I think the sheer size of the club once he got in there, he realized, oh, wait a second, like this is a completely different environment. This is completely different pressure. Any little thing that I do, even if I'm doing things well, there's going to be something that is going to be criticized at some point because that's just the size and the nature of the beast. When you're managing a club like Man United, you're under so much scrutiny. And if you as a manager are breaking under the pressure and not able to handle that scrutiny, but it doesn't matter how good a manager you are, if you're not able to handle the pressure, you're going to end up crumbling. You're not going to do well. And I think
I'm glad you brought up that point because I kind of want to jump off Rúben and just like talk about the club. Because what you're saying, slowly, you're moving to a place where you're going to lose that global clout. New and more markets. If, for example, if like fickle people are a bit fickle. You know what I mean? In this country, it's like that's our club, and we take that club for our life. Hence why I'm a West Ham fan. There's no glory in supporting West Ham, but that's my team. In these emerging markets, I feel like if United are not careful, they could lose, they could slip. I'm not saying massively, but they could slip slightly globally from that standing. It's a process. It probably plays out over 10, 15 years. But I think that the board are showing too much loyalty and commitment to an individual manager rather than an overall philosophy. So it's like Ten Hag
I think that's
will come
changing
in.
now. I
Ten
think that's
Hag will
changing.
come in, and we will back your philosophy. Rúben will back your philosophy rather than like having a club philosophy and then having a manager that works within that philosophy.
No, I think that's changed now. I think with the signings that we even made with Cunha and Burma, I don't think these are signings that
They were
necessarily.
definitely Rúben signings.
I don't think they were Ruben signings. I think what happened with Ruben, I think
those two tens, that was like
but what I'm trying to say is with the signings that we made, with what's coming out from the media, and I think even the Athletic even mentioned this as well. So when he went to the board and Jason Wilcox, he said that he wanted to prioritize 3 attackers over a midfielder. So that's even one of the things that he's complaining about. He's like, oh, he wanted a center midfielder as well. But then even in the meetings they had with him, they said that he's prioritizing 3 attackers, so a striker and then the 2 tens. So with these players that they brought in, I don't think Rúben Amorim necessarily said, I want Mateus Cunha, I want Embuemo, I want Sesko. I think that he said he needs 3 attackers. I think the
definitely think he
board
wanted
then
Cunha.
identified these 3 attackers that are saying, okay, do you know what? I think for the profile that you're looking for, I think these are the players that we're going to bring in at these price points. And we think these are the players that are going to be able to fulfill these roles for you. That's what I think it is. I don't think he's the one that necessarily went out and said that, oh, I want this player, this player, this player. I think it was more of it was his positions that he wanted to strengthen, yes. And I think he was happy with these signings, so they fit the profile that he wanted. But I think the club are the ones that identified these players, I think. I think the club identified these players, and I think they went to him with these players, and I think he was happy to have those players signed for the club. But I think,
obviously, like
with
if you look at Rúben Amorim's system, like actually, I don't know. I'm gonna reserve judgment for Sesko because I don't watch United 90 minutes every week. So I'm not gonna come here and be like Sesko's shit. I've watched enough of Arsenal to say that Gyökeres is shit. I've watched them live. I watched him live. Gyökeres is dead food. So I'm not going to speak about Sesko, but I definitely think that Cunha and Embuemo would have been identified by someone within the Man United system, put to Rúben Amorim, and Rúben Amorim's looked at that and said, perfect.
Yeah, that's what I said.
2 tens, that he's got the left and the right.
Yeah, that's what I said. I agree with that.
The big issue for me, and I think Rúben Amorim could have been successful, is that midfield because his formation depends on a lot of that.
But
The two midfielders
it was him though.
is
He's the one.
crucial, man. Is
He's the one
crucial
that said it though. He's the one that
right
literally
now
said,
in
"I'm prioritizing the
2026.
three."
In 2026, Casemiro is probably Casemiro and Xerxes, because I watched the Leeds game. Casemiro and Xerxes are probably the only two players that performed that day.
Casemiro has been good this season. To be fair, he's been quite good this season.
Casemiro is 34 years old. We don't
Casemiro has
rely
actually
on
revived
Casemiro
himself.
and in this in at for his demands of his tactics. I feel like if he would have got a Baleba, if he would have got a Elliot Anderson or someone like that, I feel like he would have been a bit further along. But you know, free Kobe.
But the thing is with him though, like, it with how he wants to play, he's not gonna play like a Baleba alongside Casemiro. He was gonna play a Baleba alongside Bruno
Bruno.
Fernandes. Yes, that's what he was going to do because he's made it very clear that he specifically, it's not by necessity that, oh, I have to play Bruno here. He wants to play Bruno in that position. He thinks with the way the team is set up that that was the best position for Bruno to be. So it would have been Bruno Fernandes and then whoever that he brought in. So um, even with the balance, we still would have had situations where because obviously there's situations where because Fernandez's first inclination is to go forward, there's certain situations where there's a lot of gaps that are left in midfield, especially in transition, where you saw especially a lot of times last season where Kai Semero was just left by himself to try and have to cover the transitions by himself, and then you always see him getting like a lot of fouls in transition, red cards, stuff like that. That always used to happen. So that would still be a problem even if we were to get the other player like a Belieber in, because I think with the way the system is set up, he would still be the person that could be exposed in that transitionary period where the teams win the ball back and then spring on us. So with him, I just think, yeah, he was too stuck to this philosophy that he wanted to play, and he just needed to have that flexibility to be able to move on to something else and just try something different, because clearly the profile of players that you have, especially when you're looking at your best player, which is Bruno Fernandes, if you're playing him in that position, you're taking him away from the main best aspects of his game. The main best aspects of his game isn't to be trying to battle the ball from midfield and then dictate a game by like through from deep. Like that's not his game. His game is affecting the game as further forward as he possibly can, and
And
because
bro,
that's what he
whatever
actually.
anyone wants to say about Bruno, if you put him in the position for creating chances, taking chances, he takes them, he makes them.
Exactly,
It's not
like that's
whatever you want to say about his
yes.
body language, how he reacts, his attitude. When it comes to like that final third, bro, he's one of the best in the world.
But you know what this thing is, though? They always
Statement of
keep us
fact.
talking.
So if you
They
have him back here doing all of this stuff,
it's taken away from his game. Yeah, it's
and
taken away from the
simply
game.
because your system, when you're back here doing all of this stuff, it's a lot of like you have to be responsible for a lot. So
Yeah,
players run off the back of your shoulder when the opposition have the ball, etc., because it's two midfielders. Do you know what I'm saying?
literally,
And most teams play with a three. So
literally.
you know, it was a lot, but he's gone now. So what I want to touch on with you is the board's next move, the next decision, because I think an interim manager is you're pushing the can down the road, and that could be dangerous in the sense that you could finish the season fifth, sixth. It could be satisfactory, but it kind of is wasting time. Rúben Amorim has just wasted a year of Man United's time with his attitude, his ego, etc. So kicking the can down the road with like an Ollie, I'm seeing Michael Carrick. I'm hoping they don't give it to Carrick because I want Carrick at West Ham. But do you know what I mean? What's your thoughts on that, bro?
So with the interim thing, I kind of get where they are coming from in that instance, because I think what they're trying to do is, I think especially it being a World Cup year, I think depending on how the World Cup goes, there's going to be a lot of big managers that are potentially going to be up for grabs after the World Cup.
Yeah,
So
but the World Cup, you got to look at when the World Cup finishes and then how much time do they have. Does that make sense?
I get
Hold
that,
on,
but
one second. Let me just give you the exact date.
but what I'm trying to say is with that, I don't think they really care about that type of thing specifically, because I think with how the club is trying to
But
move
that's
now.
important, bro. The World Cup
But
ends on July.
I'm going to explain why it's not as important now as it would have been before. Because before, with the way the board seemed to be moving before, especially before Radcliffe and Wilcox and all these guys came in, is they were very solely having philosophies and signings based on the manager specifically. I think with the way they want to be moving now, and it's even shown by how Wilcox was going to Amorim and telling him, why not try and do this? Why not try and play like this? I think now, moving forward, it's not going to be about the manager. It's going to be, they're not going to go through a situation where they're going to be hiring a manager. They're going to be going down the situations of hiring somebody that's going to be more there to be able to coach the team. And they're going to be building the type of team and the type of squad and getting the type of players in that they want to get in. I think Belieber again, he's another player that seems like it's a board identification of the type of player and profile that they want. Somebody that's Premier League experience, used to how the game in the Premier League works, has the type of profile in midfield that'll be able to cover the amount of ground, has the technical ability to drive with the ball, to dictate the game. Like he has, that's what these are the type of players that they're trying to look for. It seems like that's a board directive more than a manager directive. So I think even if they are going to be waiting towards the summer to see what happens, especially in the World Cup or things like that, I don't think it's going to really affect them too much, because I think the World Cup, it's going to end early July, I would say. Is it early?
Mid-July.
Okay, early to mid July is going to be ending. Yep, and then
It ends on the 19th of July.
okay, so it ends on the 19th of July. So
Whether or
let's
not
say
the manager that you're talking about is there till the 19th of July is another conversation.
Exactly. That's another thing as well. So I think potentially that could be what they're waiting for. That's one thing. It might even just be a case where maybe they're just waiting for the end of the season, because again, I'm hearing things like they are looking at Glasner as well. Glasner's contract ends at the end of the season. So rather than having to try and snatch him from Palace now, they're thinking, okay, maybe if they're going for him, they can wait until the end of the season and then just basically get him on a free transfer as well. So that can be another thing that they are looking at. But I think the main thing that they're trying to do right now is not just rush into a decision and then just hire a manager, because they kind of did that with Amorim, where they sacked Ten Hag and they're just like, all right, cool, mid-season, let's just quickly try and fling in Amorim,
Yeah.
see what you can
Well,
do to try and save the season.
they had Rude.
But
They had Rude.
yeah. So, but what I'm trying to say is, I think now what their thought process is that they are going to sit down and think to themselves, actually, let's play out the season, see how the season goes, and then in the summer we can reevaluate everything that's happened, and then we can show. Okay, this is where we need to move. This is the direction we want to do. They could have got their full short list of managers that they want to employ there already, and then just be able to make a more informed decision. So I think that's kind of what they're going for now. I don't think they want to rush into things too much.
I think what we'll do is we'll do another video where we'll analyze the candidates and we'll get the boys'
Yeah.
thoughts on what they feel and what they think should be the direction going forward. I'm gonna leave you guys on. I'm gonna tune into my beloved West Ham, but I will have it on in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No problem, no
On
problem,
Salsa,
lads.
how do you feel?
Hey, do you know what?
Ollie, you
Mixed
want Ollie
emotions,
back in
mixed
it?
emotions. I'm telling you, some people call him the PE teacher, some people call him the Mr. Inexperience. You see me, I love my club legend. You know what? I loved his era. I don't care what anybody else says. We had a good era under him. Yes, he
So you,
inherited a decent team.
so you think a good era is 0 trophies at all and finishing like second once, but then still like 15 points off the league title? That's a good era.
Look. I'm gonna put this out
That's
there now.
you're a United fan, and that's now a good era.
Look, some people will call it Arteta techers. Look, it's better than finishing 16th.
But again, United shouldn't be a situation between whether or not we
Okay,
finish
see it
15th,
this way. If
or
that's what you're gonna tell me,
it shouldn't be whether or not we finish 15th or whether or not we finish second one time. But then don't even really challenge for the title. Like it shouldn't be one or the other.
okay, but did we still finish in the Champions League places? Was the money still
I
flowing into
don't.
the club?
I don't
Were we
care.
still giving good performances? I
I
remember
don't.
the Parc des Princes. I remember
I
3-1 against PSG,
I
and they had a
don't
very
care.
good team.
Again, what did we do with that though? Yes,
All
we
right,
beat
look,
PSG.
but
We
you
beat
gave us
PSG.
look.
I don't give my team trophies for beating PSG. Like a team like Man
Okay,
United,
cool.
beating PSG should not be a problem. Like
Okay,
this is
but
what I'm trying to say. Like this
understand.
shouldn't be an
Remember,
accomplishment.
remember the team we could have had under Ole in it. Remember who Ole tried to put us onto in it before they were going for mad peas in it. I beg you, please relax in
Hey,
it. Like
by the
remember in
way,
it.
I'm about to tune into West Ham in it, so I'm just hearing you lot in the background about beating PSG, and I'm like,
That's
this is rich people problems. Like, I just need to beat Wolves, bruv.
hey, bro, we couldn't even do that last week, bro. So it's all right. It's
Oh
all right.
my
We couldn't even do
days.
that. Do you know what I mean? Like we couldn't even do that. But now listen, he tried to put us onto Haaland when Haaland was still going for cheap peas. He tried to put us onto what's his name? Bellingham when
Uh,
Bellingham was going for cheap peas. Bro,
Bellingham
he
was
tried
never
to
going
put
for
us
cheap
on.
peas like
What
that.
do you
Like
mean? We would have definitely have bought him for under 100 mil. I want to say even under 70 mil. We would have copped Bellingham. We would have copped Haaland.
by the time he
Under
wanted
50 mil.
Bellingham was already at Dortmund, and I think at that
Yeah.
time, with the way
Yeah. What?
Bellingham
So
was, I think at the time with the way Bellingham was moving, I don't think Man United
no,
was a team that he was
I'm
going to go
showing
for.
you now. Man United would have bought him. What? After we bought Sancho, Sideshow Sancho. Like, come on, don't do that. Don't do
San-
that.
Sancho,
Sideshow
Sancho,
Sancho.
Sancho's a joke, man. Though you're talking about a
Yeah,
joke, man.
cool. But he was the
Bellingham
same
is
guy who was.
Bellingham is actually is actually a serious guy. Like my guy is not trying to play
But
around.
but when
You
Bellingham
think
went,
you okay? You think a Jude Bellingham would go to Man United to play under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Like, come on, man. Like,
100% he would have come. 100% he would have gone. At the time, yes, he would have.
bro, this is
Yes,
the
he
thing,
would
like,
have.
and this is the annoying thing that you man make me do sometimes because I actually like Solskjaer. Solskjaer was one of like when he was a player, like he's one of my favorite players. But like you're making me just criticize this guy, like,
All right, look. Look, you see
but
how
like
hot I
you
was
man are
getting. My glasses are
delusional over this,
steaming
like,
up. You
bro.
see, this is how I'm upset. I'm getting my glasses were steaming up, bro.
Bro,
Like I'm
like,
telling you now, like Solskjaer was the guy. Certain man didn't realize what he was doing. Like so he didn't do too much. He didn't need to do too much because the
bro,
team he inherited was a decent team. All he had to do was get the results. Look at this guy.
he
Like,
didn't
don't
get,
get me wrong.
he did not get the results though, bro.
Look, yeah, I actually thought Amorim was going to come in and do something. I did. I saw what he was doing at Sporting. But then the one thing that I always like to remind people and always told people is he's doing this in Portugal. He's doing this in Portugal, innit? Like there were so many managers at the time before we copped Amorim who we could have had, who were free, who were ready to come, who would have probably done a better job than he would have done. Look here, there's only so much you can stick to your tactics. There's only so much I'm hearing in training. You're playing four at the back in training, but you can't do that on the pitch. But then the one time that you did that on the pitch, look at the result you got.
And you got a clean sheet as well, like the first clean sheet that we've had.
Come on, bro. Come on. Sometimes be flexible. Like in this life, yeah. Like I'll be honest with you, playing that 4-2-3-1, call it whatever you want, or playing that 4-3-3 with the little triangle in the middle, depending on if you're going for the cam or the defensive mid. It works. It works. It works. We've all seen it with different teams, dead teams, good teams. It works. This four at the back, it works. You have to be an exceptional manager or have the players ingrained in your philosophy, or you've bought players. If you cannot have one of those three options, don't do it. Just don't do it.
Bro, the formation, like any formation, depending on the players you have, is a good or it has its pros and it has its cons.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
Even in the way like certain teams play nowadays, even if they don't necessarily start with a four at the back, so start with a three at the back. A lot of teams even still were transitioning into a three at the back. Like
No, 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 no.
even City in their dominant phase. They started with four defenders, but then in possession, Stones would move into midfield, and then
Forget
the two
City.
fullbacks would come in. So
No, no, no,
but
no.
it's not just City. Even Arsenal as well
Well,
used
I
to
wasn't
build
even
up
gonna.
in that type
I
of
was
way
gonna
as
use.
well.
I was gonna use
So
Napoli as my example. Napoli are a team who have recently, and they've been doing it very well, playing that three at the back, the four in midfield, three up top. Do you know what I mean? It works. It's a formation that can work, yes. But look
They,
at the team that Napoli have.
they don't really play three at the back anymore. They play 4-3-3 most of the time.
No, but they have been. If you look at their last few games that they have been playing, especially like when De Bruyne turned up, they were playing that three at the back, and it worked very, very, very well. Look how fruitful it was. McNuggets was getting, come on, nearly Ballon d'Or out of this. Do you see it? Like, it can work, but you have to have the players ready to play that formation. We have never been a club who can play that formation. Like, you're not gonna tell me that you're gonna have what's his name, Luke Shaw, playing as your left centre back. It don't make sense. He's not a left
Let
centre
me
back.
just put it to you this way. So, again, the three at the back, I don't think it's even an issue. The same manager that you're busy praising here and saying that, oh, you're happy that he's coming back. Bro, he played three at the back before, multiple games. Ollie played three at the back, multiple games. And he played Shaw in that left centre back role. And I can't remember what game it was. It was one. I think we even won the game. I think it was in the League Cup against Chelsea or something we did it or something. I can't remember. But I think we even won the game. So even Ollie himself has played three at the back. I don't think the formation is the issue. I think it's the way the players are grasping what you want them to do was the problem. And necessarily having the personnel to play in that
We
type
don't.
of way that you
But
want them to
that
be.
was the whole thing
But
about it.
that's the
We didn't
main
have the
that's
personnel
the
for
main
that.
thing. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's the main thing. He was trying to force the system onto players that in terms of what if you look at your squad and you look at what you have, you need to do something different. It's not just a case of just thinking that, oh, this is my philosophy. I'm going to stick with this philosophy regardless
No,
of
I can
who I have.
understand that.
That's not how you do it. You look at your squad, you think to yourself, okay, do you know what? What players do I have at this squad? How do they play? What's the profile of the players? How can I, as a manager, get the best out of these players? That's the only thing that you need to be focusing on as a manager. How do I get the best out of the players that I have at my disposal? But he wasn't thinking like that. He was thinking to
Yeah, but
himself,
bro,
I have my philosophy, and regardless of the players I have, I am going to force my philosophy onto
do you
these
know
players.
why he thought? Do you know why he thought like that though? And I'll explain this, and it's very simple. Yeah, if you saw his sporting team, he had people like Edwards in this team. Yeah, he had who else? He had obviously the couple young bucks who were doing bits. He had the Danish midfielder. What's his name? The one that sounds like Højlund, but it's not Højlund.
Yeah,
Yeah, did
Hoyleman.
you see it? He had he had players in certain positions who would dominate and be able to be his like right arm on the pitch and dictate this. Like especially that Danish midfielder. Oh wow, I'd love to see him at United in the middle. Oof, he's dangerous. That one right there. Oh yeah. Tell me, look, bro, take Ugarte. I'll do swap deal and give you money for him. Imagine that. That's what I'm on, because the team that we've got now, there are certain players who can do it. And I'm going to bring this back to Football Manager. I'm not going to lie to you. 2 seasons it took me to get rid of that whole team. I only kept 4 players out of that whole team, which is the new signing of the goalkeeper. I'm not going to lie. I kept Luke Shaw because he's, you know, what I mean, you know what he's like in Football Manager. He's decent. Yeah. I kept Ahmed for the first season and then got rid of him. Who else did I keep? I don't think I kept too many players. I kept Sesko, obviously, because Sesko is just overpowered. But you see it. There was only 4 players I decided to keep out of this whole squad. Not first team, squad. Got rid of everybody. Because I know it's hard. I know United tried to do the clear out thing and, you know, get rid of Sancho, but they should have been more steadfast. Me personally, I would have taken the L's. I would have taken every last L. I would have sold Sancho for 20 mil. Like, I wouldn't have tried to get rid of Rashford. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I would have worked with Rashford. I would have really worked
Well,
with
now
him.
that the manager is gone, I think there's an opportunity for Rashford to come back into the team, to be
Yeah,
honest.
100%. 100%. Do you know what? And the way I see it, yeah, whatever manager has or whatever manager tries to do what, they're going to bring Sancho back as well. I guarantee you they'll bring him back.
Sancho's done out. Forget
No,
Sancho.
we know he's done. But you have to remember, right now, we do not have a decent squad. That's it.
I don't think the squad is even that bad. I think the thing that we need to do now, and I think this is the only place that we kind of need to get reinforcements in, is that I think now if Fletcher's playing now, I think he is going to be playing like either 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. I think now with the players that we have, we're slightly weak on the left hand side because it's only really Cunha, and then if you want to play Mount out there, Mount that can kind of play that side because of the way he kind of set up the way he wanted the team to be. Obviously Rashford went, he got rid of Sancho and all these players, so like the left wingers that we did have left the club, so we're kind of light on the left wing area now. But I still even think, even with that, I think with the players that we still have, I think even that formation still would work with them, to be honest. And I don't think the squad is weak, because I think in the areas that we've brought in players, I think that the players that have been brought in are good players. Like I think Cunha is a great
100%. Yeah.
I think Mbuemo is a great player. So even Sesko as well. He the thing is with him, he's been missing a lot of chances recently, but
he's
I
getting
think
chances.
that's the main thing. He's getting chances. So I think if once something drops for him, I think that will give him all the confidence to be able to be a lot more clinical than he is. But I think certain things with him right now, a lot of things are kind of in his head. But I think if you watch him play, because it's not even just him missing the chances that like he actually helps the team a lot. Like he links up the play very well.
He's a
Runs
proper
the channels.
old school centre forward.
He runs the channels. He does all the dog work, all the hard work that actually helps your Cunhas
Team get
and your
forward.
Mbuemos get space and get forward and stuff like that. So even with the goal we scored against Leeds, it was him holding up the ball, laying it to Xerxes, and then Xerxes playing the through ball. If it wasn't for his ability to be able to control and hold up the ball and play it to Xerxes, we wouldn't have even had that goal. So he's doing a lot of good work, I think. But yeah, he just needs that
Do you know
goal
what
to
it
drop
is? Another problem that we seem to be having at United is it's the pressure of playing for that badge, innit? And it's hard, bro. Like certain players come there and they don't realize that you actually have to put in work. And when I mean work, I mean not live off the name of what you've done at your last club. Actually come in and put in work. And for me, there's only 2 signings I can say in recent times within the last year who are really, really, really playing for this badge. And you know who I'm going to say. It's going to be Mbuemo and Cunha. I have not seen signings like this come into our side and actually show the determination to play for this badge. Like, I'm so upset with like people like Ugarte because all right, cool, you're not getting a lot of first team chances, but when you are getting the chances, why are you not taking them? Like, I see so much like that he could be doing. Considering he's a defensive midfielder, I do not see him doing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was even more impressed with Martinez playing in that defensive midfield role, even though he's not a defensive midfielder at all in any way, shape, or form. He just looked more comfortable in that position than I've ever seen Ugarte. That was sad.
He's not looking. He's not looking
Martinez
great.
DM was the truth.
Imagine, hey, come on,
Oh,
you see it,
but you see the thing is with the team though. Like I think another thing to even have in mind as well. I think with the way Amorim was trying to set up the team and with the way he was trying to force the players to play, I think what he's ended up doing in certain instances with certain players is completely tanking their value. So I think, for example, a player like Kobe Mano, who recently
he's ruining this kid, man.
just before Amorim joined the club, my guy was starring in a European Championship final, was balling throughout the whole tournament. And you can see that when he has the right system around him, when he has at least another person in there where it's not just him having to do the work with another person, he's allowed to be able to play his game, to be able to link the midfield and the attack, to be able to drive the ball forward and do all these things. But with the system that Amorim was forcing to play, you can't hit that type of player alongside Bruno Fernandes. Otherwise, you're just going to get completely overrun in midfield.
I agree with you.
And then playing him alongside just another holding midfielder, his game isn't really like you're not playing into his strengths. If you just want him to be in there dictating the game from there, like his game is to be able to drive. Yeah, his game is to be able to get on the ball, pick up the ball from deep, drive it forward, lay it off, link up, play 1-2s.
Of course,
like I'm saying, play in the spaces. Like that's what he needs to be doing. Be able to
100%,
play in the pockets of the spaces.
We do not have a defensive midfielder strong enough to dictate that for him because Having that triangle would be perfect. Bruno spearheading that with Mainu just in behind him, and someone, as I said, like the Danish guy who I was saying from Sporting Lisbon, would have been amazing. Would have been amazing. That for me, that trio, would be dangerous.
Yeah, that would work. That would work a lot better. So I think with the personnel that he had, I think there was always one deficiency that the player that he had in those positions had that would have been covered up if they just had another body in there in midfield. Like for example, Fernandez, obviously amazing creatively, amazing at passing, but then
but he's not a defensive player.
because of his mindset to try and get forward, and even apparently from what he's even saying, Amorim actually wants him to try and get as high forward as possible. But then when he has that mentality and he's getting as high forward as that, then
you're leaving space.
When you're leaving all that space behind, you don't have that natural defensive instincts to be picking up and closing out the balls and the different passing angles. Then it's good. You're gonna have issues. But then he can do the creative work. But then in that position, you need a player that has the ability to do everything at a high enough level. Especially if it's only two players in there. Like anybody, like anybody that's playing those two players in there, you need to have players that are playing to a high level to be able to cover that. Otherwise, it's just not going to work because there's going to be one player in there where there's going to be one specific deficiency. Like even Casemiro, like especially this season, he's even been pretty good to be honest. But even with him,
this is what I was actually going to say. You see, Casemiro, if we were working with prime Casemiro, do you know what? I wouldn't even be questioning it. But we're dealing with retirement Casemiro. Do you see it?
But even this season, he's been pretty good. He's been probably one of our best players.
But what? Yeah, of course he.
But what I was gonna say with him anyway, like even though I think he's been quite good this season anyway, even though like obviously I think we still need to replace him because obviously he's getting very old now, so we need somebody to replace him. But what I'm gonna say with him, so with him, he can still pretty much kind of do the defensive work that needs to be done, but in certain instances, especially at his age, at this stage, he doesn't have the legs to be able to cover for.
But that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
He doesn't have
retirement,
and then he's good at passing. Like he's a decent passer. He's a good passer, but he's not the type of defensive midfielder that can break the lines consistently on a consistent basis from deep. Like somebody like what a Carrick could be able to do. He's not able to do that.
No, but that's where you're wrong because, as I said, like if we had prime Casemiro, that's what he was doing for Real. We've got retirement Casemiro.
He wasn't really doing that at Madrid because
Madrid
didn't need him to do that. That's the whole point. Madrid didn't need
Casemiro back in the day. Oh, Madrid. He weren't.
What are you talking about? Casemiro is probably the second greatest defensive midfielder of our generation. But that's not what I'm saying. But you're not listening to what I'm saying. Because what I'm trying to say is Casemiro was not used in the role to have to dictate a game from deep positions. He didn't have to do that. All he had
to do was clamp. That's all I want him to do.
He was the ball winner. He was going around winning the ball. He's actually.
But that's all we need him to do. That's all. Prime Casemiro. This is what I'm saying. Prime. Bro,
let me finish the point I'm trying to make. So the point I'm trying to make with him is, especially in this midfield that we're playing right now, in the two-man, if you're gonna have these two players in there, especially with the role of Casemiro, if you have a defensive midfielder in this two-man midfield, you need to be able to not only do the defensive work, to be making the interceptions and having the legs, because both of your midfielders have to have the legs to be able to cover the ground because there's only two of you in there. But you then have to be able to get on the other end and be able to play those balls through the lines.
Why?
Why? You're saying if you're playing in a 3-4-3, your defensive midfielders don't need to be able to play the ball through the lines.
But I wouldn't be playing a 3-4-3.
I'm saying you're not listening to me. I'm saying in Amorim's formation, if he wanted it to work, this is the issue. These are the issues that we were coming across with. This is what I'm saying. So with the formation he wanted to play, these are the type of things that you would need these players in these positions to be able to do. But like I said, with the players that we had, one of them was always lacking one key thing that would have been needed in order to make that type of situation and thing and formation work. Because like I said, on Casemiro's end, it's about being able to consistently play the balls through the lines. And as he's gotten older, obviously he doesn't really have the legs. With Bruno Fernandes, he's able to play the ball through the lines and he's able to play be that creative outlet from deeper areas. But then his inclination is to push forward a lot more. And when he's pushing forward a lot more, he then doesn't have the same defensive instincts to be able to get back and be able to make those interceptions and be able to break up the play again, which you would need in that type of two-man midfield. So that's the kind of point I'm trying to make. There's always
I'm
something
inclined
that's
to
missing.
I'm inclined to hear what you're saying, but it could have worked. And my
With
only
Casemiro
argument,
and Fernandez.
no. That's the see exactly. That's not what I'm going to say. What I was going to say was it could have worked if he had been playing Menu more. And the only reason I say that is because, as you've just said, valid points. Casemiro is there to just break up play. Menu is a ball carrier, so let him carry the ball. Let him
Okay.
carry the ball.
But now
Because
that
you're saying about breaking through midfield lines. Why would you need to? Look at what Declan Rice is doing at Arsenal.
But Meno doesn't do that really.
Oh, Manu can do that. You see, right now he's suffering. You know why he's suffering? Because he's got no confidence in his game. He's got no consistency
Bro,
in playing first team football. Am I wrong?
we just described Meno's game. Meno's
As
game
box to box.
Meno's game is about the driving the ball in midfield and being able to carry the ball with his dribbling and be able
But
to
you're also
then
but
link
you're
up the
also
play and play 1-2 passes and things like that. That's what he's meant to be doing.
but
That's his
with
strength.
Amorim's but with Amorim's
That's his
system,
strength. With Amorim's
where he
system, the reason why Meno struggled in this system is because, for one, again, with it being a two-man, like the amount of ground that he would need to cover in that two-man midfield was a
okay.
problem for him because even especially I saw it myself every time that he was in the midfield, he just didn't have the legs to be getting around, especially if
Do
he
you
had
know what?
somebody.
And you know why? Because he has wing backs who have no idea what they're doing. That's the problem.
But this is what I'm
Because
trying to say.
if he had wing backs who knew what they were doing, I'm telling you, Mainoo's game would have been perfect for that system because he would have had outlets. And then you have to remember he's still got his two
But then
tanks sitting in
again,
front of him.
but then what I'm trying to say is again, with the way he plays in that two-man, he he's not the player that is getting the ball from deep and playing the ball through the lines from deep positions.
But he
That's not
doesn't need
really
to. He could have
that's
carried
not
that ball through the
no, but if
midfield.
it, in a two-man, this is what I'm trying to say, in a two-man midfield system, you
Mhm.
need somebody that would be able to play the ball through the lines. For example, even at Sporting Lisbon, one of the guys that they used to have in midfield was a guy called, what's his name, Braganza. If you look at him and you look at the way he plays football from deep, like that guy is a creative outlet from deep. He can get the ball from deep and he will play those type of balls like a Michael Carrick will do that will go directly into the
Okay, but
players in front of his
you're
feet.
you're
And
talking
that's
about
what you need.
spraying balls.
But
But you
listen,
don't have the players to do that. So what you would do is adapt your game to players
this
who
is
can
what,
pass
but
and
what I'm
short. No, but I'm talking about short range passing. This whole you have to remember with a midfield the way he has,
any
triangles
team
work.
again. It's triangles is how
Tell
can
me
I
I'm
put this?
wrong.
So let me put it to you this way. So even with Barcelona, so they played a lot of triangles, yes, but in their midfield they had Xavi who was able to dictate the game from deeper areas. If you look
I hear
at
you.
even Man City or when they had with Rodri again, they have somebody that gets the ball in deeper
Uh-huh.
position,
I
is
hear you.
able to play the
But these
ball through the lines. So
yeah,
even
but
Arsenal
they
right
weren't
now,
no, but the players you've
Why do you think Arsenal have even moved Declan Rice further forward, and why they don't
okay.
want to play him
But
in
every
DM?
player
It's
you've
because
mentioned,
Declan Rice. But listen, Declan Rice is probably even their best midfielder, so it's not even me even hating on Declan Rice. But Declan Rice is not able to play that DM role how that DM role needs to be played. He's not able to
but
get
the
the
one
ball and
thing
play the
you're
ball through the
forgetting,
lines. That's why they've got Zubi Menda there, because you need
okay,
a
but
player
the
in
one,
midfield that from deep is able to do that. Even again
okay,
with Barcelona, they had even Busquets that's able to do that as
but
well.
one point you are missing. Every player that you've just mentioned, they're not ball sprayers across a pitch. Yes, they can spray the odd ball, but if you actually notice the way they
Xavi
play
isn't
by
a ball
running
spread.
with. If you notice the way a lot of these players played in these teams that you have mentioned, a lot of them
Xavi.
were ball carriers.
Xavi is a
hundred
ball carrier.
percent,
Xavi. Xavi Hernandez
hundred
is a
percent.
ball carrier.
In space, Xavi's not doing the whole I'm spraying balls 30, 40, 50 yards
Oh my
every single
days.
time.
Oh my days, bro.
If you notice, it was a lot
Bro.
of close circuit passing.
Xavi is
No, no,
not a
no.
ball carrier, bro.
Look. I'm showing you now. Why do you think I mentioned triangles? If you actually notice, every player that you've
Bro,
mentioned.
playing in triangles and being a ball carrier are two different things. In
Okay,
that
cool.
midfield with Barcelona, Iniesta was the ball carrier. He's the player that, even him as well, like even when Maino was playing for England, that was one player that I kind of thought that his game was a little bit similar to. Obviously, nowhere near the same amount of level. But again, Iniesta, if you put him in a two-man midfield and tell him, oh, get the ball from deep and start trying to spray passes around, that's going to completely take away the strength from his game, because his game is picking up the ball in space and being able to drive and run with the ball. And because of the way he drives and runs with the ball and his control, he's able to disrupt a whole midfield structure and take so many players out of position, because they're going to be coming in, trying to tackle him. He'll be just skipping and gliding past them. And the next thing you know, your whole midfield is running after him, like how it
So
was on
why do you
multiple
think I
Champions League
said? So
finals,
why do you think
finals
I said playing in
with.
triangles would have worked a lot better?
But
He
it's
had
not.
worked on this. He's got short range
It's
passing.
not
Hold on,
about.
you're playing wing backs. That is the whole point of having your wing backs playing the roles that they play. It's for either you're going to spray a ball out to a wing back who's not 30, 40, 50 yards away from you, who's going to be right next to you in this midfield. Yeah. Then you've also got your two cams doing the same thing. This is what I'm trying to say to you. Like the players you're mentioning, yes, okay, cool, they could spray your ball. But for the roles that you want for this lineup of a 3-4 in midfield and then 2-1 up top, spraying long
Bro,
balls don't make sense for this team.
bro, it's not just about spraying long balls. This is what you're not understanding.
But that was
It's
your main
okay.
focus in
Let
the
me
argument.
explain it. Let me explain it to you. Let me explain it to you this way. Let me explain it to you in this way. So I'm not just talking about players that just get the ball from deep and are just spraying long passes like Paul Scholes and all of this. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a player in midfield that is able to progress the ball through their passing into attacking positions. For example, when we
What,
with
Manu
Man
couldn't have
United,
done that with Fernandez?
for example, with Man United, when we had Michael Carrick in midfield, one
Mm-hmm.
of the balls Michael Carrick used to do at least 2-3 times every match was he used
Mm-hmm.
to get the ball from deep, close to the center circle, halfway line, and he would look up, and the striker would come a little bit deeper, just maybe on the edge of the area, and he will play a drilled low pass, probably about 15, 20 yards directly into his feet, zipped. And it used to go through the midfield, take out at least 3 players in midfield directly
What,
to the
and you can't
striker's
train
feet.
Manu to do that?
Bro, that's not his game. That is
But you
not.
can't train him to do that.
That's even again in for me, for example, Iniesta for me is the greatest midfielder of all time.
That's like
Iniesta,
us, man, not being able to pass the ball 20 yards.
Iniesta's game was not that. But
I'm
Iniesta,
talking, no,
not
but
who,
I'm talking
who
about
the
that's
best
like
midfielder
Sunday
of all
League, man,
time
not
is,
being
I
able
would
to pass the
say
ball 20 yards.
that's not what I'm talking, bro. I don't think you understand the type of ball I'm
No, I
trying.
do. I know exactly what you mean. When you mean passing
What
through the
that type
lines,
of ball I'm saying, what I'm
you
trying to
mean the
say
type
that.
of ball that cuts out a whole midfield. I know exactly what type of
But
ball
this,
you mean.
but then you're telling me you're saying it like every midfielder can play those balls and they can't.
Oh,
Because
bro, come on, man.
if they can play those type of balls, that means every defensive midfielder would be a world class player. Because in order to do those type of balls and to be
But
able
you
to,
can teach that. That's not that hard.
if,
You
if,
stick him on the
that,
training pitch
if
and
you
you
can
tell him pass to this.
if you can teach that, how come even some of the best midfielders that we've seen in our lifetime were not able to do that?
Because all right, cool. Every situation is different, and I'll give you that.
That's what I'm
But you
trying
can
to say.
teach that. But
Is what
you
I'm trying
can
to say.
teach that.
In that
If you
Barcelona
had,
team, in that Barcelona team, Iniesta couldn't do that. That
well, you
wasn't
think
his.
Iniesta couldn't? Yeah, you think he couldn't have played that ball
That was
at
again
all?
the type of ball that I'm telling you
Because
about.
I think you'll find
That was not
I've
Iniesta's
seen
game.
Iniesta do that a few times for Spain
Iniesta
in
hasn't
World
done
Cup finals,
Iniesta didn't even
catching assists for winning goals and that.
Iniesta didn't even play that. Iniesta didn't even play that deep to do that for Spain. So Busquets was in that. Busquets and Xabi Alonso were the ones that were deep and progressing the ball. Iniesta's
Busquets would
job
be the deep. No, Busquets would
in
be the deepest player
in yeah,
sitting in front of the defense.
Xabi Alonso and Busquets they used to play a double pivot. Xabi Alonso and
Yes,
Busquets,
yes.
and
As
it
a
was never
three.
Iniesta. It was never Iniesta. In fact, those type of balls that I'm talking about were the type of balls that Xabi Alonso and Busquets used to find Iniesta with higher up the pitch.
Okay,
Those
cool.
were the type of balls that they
But
used
that's
to
a
find him with, because he
but
would pick up the pockets in space where they would be able to drill the ball into his feet from those type of positions. But it
I
was
know, and
never
I hear
Iniesta's
you.
job. It was
I
never
hear you.
Iniesta's
But
job.
what I'm showing you is You give Kobe Mainu one little slight tweak to his game, he can do that, innit? He
Listen,
can
I'm
do
not
that.
saying Kobe
You're
Mano
going on
can't
like
do
a.
that. I'm saying
I'm
he's a
showing
great.
you.
I'm saying Kobe Mano. I think Kobe Mano can be a great player, and I think he has the potential to be a great player. But I think with certain things in certain people's games, I think in order to make him as great as a player as he can be, I don't think that we necessarily need him to be that. I think his main
Why?
strengths and the main because again, I think his main strengths and the things that he needs to focus on are the strengths in his game, which I think is being able to drive with the ball. And when he's driving with the ball to be able to disrupt midfielders and take them out of position, which then the type of balls that he needs to start learning when he's doing that and taking them out of position are those type of Iniesta balls when you're driving at the defense and you're bringing people towards you, those type of balls where you knock it around them and then you're playing the through balls like that, but not the balls where you're having to sit deep and progressing it through the lines through your passing, because with him already, if you have other people deeper that are able to progress the lines for him, he can be able to progress through his dribbling, which is a strength. So I think we need to develop him to play towards those strengths of that. But I think we can't. But I do get what you're saying. Obviously, anybody can be taught. I think it's something that I'm not saying that he can never play those balls. He's never had. But what I'm trying to say is on a consistent basis of doing it. In my opinion, I don't think that's something that we should expect him to be able to do. And I think him playing to his strengths, I think developing those other sides of the game would do him a lot better than trying to develop something like that with him. And I think getting players in the midfield to be able to do that on his behalf will unlock his game and make him a much better player.
I hear what you're saying, but this is why I made the point of we have not got the squad to play his system in that respect. This is why I said that.
I agree.
Could it have been done? Could it have been done? Essentially, but he was not the man to do that. Why? Because of his inconsistencies. Unfortunately, with this guy, he will look. If you want your players to buy into what you're doing, what you're doing on the training pitch is what you're trying to transfer onto the main pitch at Old Trafford. If you can't do that, that's a problem. Like when you're hearing the reports of you're training a completely different way to the way you expect these players to play, and then players are telling you saying they don't know what they're doing. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. If you have a manager who's consistent, look, it's the same with Maresca. This guy's Chelsea team, he didn't even know his first 11. He didn't know what his first 11 would be. Me personally, I know what Chelsea's first 11 is. I'm not even a Chelsea fan, and I know what their first
Do
11
you want
is.
me to tell you something funny about that though?
Go on.
There's a very, very good reason why that was happening, and it's something that the Athletic, I think it was the Athletic that actually broke the story as well. But yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the Athletic. So basically, that wasn't Maresca's decision to be constantly rotating his team. Apparently, one of the reasons why Maresca left is because the Chelsea medical team kept on coming to him and saying, you should only play this player this amount of minutes because they played this minutes in this game. You have to rest this
Don't
player
care.
for this game and
I
play this
don't
player.
care.
So that's one of the things that he's
I
going to
am the
frustrated
coach.
about.
I don't care. If
Again,
that
you say
player
you're
gets
the coach,
injured,
but then if your management and the medical team are forcing you and telling you these are the
who's
things that you have
forcing
to
my
do and you
hand?
go against them, then you're either
Who's for,
gonna
no?
you're either gonna fall
I
on your
will run that
sword and
player
get
into the
sacked
ground.
or you resign.
I will run that player into the ground. I
Again,
don't care. I am the guy who
you're
controls this team, bro.
you're
There's
not
no
though.
medical
You're just
man.
the you're the manager that you can get sacked at any moment. If you're
Yeah,
going against what the club,
cool. Up
if you're
until
going
that
against what
point,
the
I
club
will
is
play the.
saying, you get
No,
sacked.
up until that point, I will get sacked. I don't care. I will play the way I
But
want to
this is
play
what I'm
as a
trying to tell
manager.
you. This is the reason why he left, because they were telling him to do these things and he did not want to do this. So he said,
Cool.
if you're making me do these things, I am going to leave. That's the
Okay,
whole
but
point
who?
why he
Yeah, but
left.
who puts the team sheet out? The manager's the one who picks the squad at the end of
Again,
the day.
this is the thing. Like in clubs, there's a lot more politics than you think.
No, I
It's not
know
just
that. I
it's not
know
just
that.
black
I
and white.
know that.
Again, look what happened with Chelsea. When Chelsea signed Shevchenko, they were trying to force Mourinho to play Shevchenko. Mourinho was like, I don't want to play Shevchenko. I want to play Didier Drogba. What happened
Mm.
midway through the season? Mourinho got sacked. This is what I'm trying to say.
No, I
You
hear
can
it.
be the manager, you can say whatever you want to say, but at the end of the day, there's certain things that are set up in the club, and especially with Chelsea. To be honest, when I heard that, it kind of just reminded me of just how American clubs are run, because that's kind of like how the NBA is.
No, it's true.
Their medical teams are quite in touch with the coaching staff, and they put like minute restrictions on players, and they say this player should play like this, you should rest this player for this game. So the medical team is quite involved in American sports as well. So even when that kind of story came out, and I was looking at the Chelsea owners, I was like, do you know what? That actually makes quite a lot of sense. And it made
Yeah,
sense
but
as to why his team was always chopping and changing as much as it was.
yeah, but
So
then
I
if your
think
hierarchy
I don't
can't
think we should
understand
blame
about
him.
consistency, it don't work. Because as much as
Again,
it works in American sports in general, because obviously American football, you have two lines in regards to your forwards and your defensive teams. Obviously, the same works in basketball. It don't work like that in football. Football is a transitional game with the 11 you have on the pitch at all times until you make your subs.
basketball is a very transitional game as well. But
No, it is, but you know what I mean, isn't it? It's transitional in the fact of you will have your defensive guys who when you're making roster changes and stuff like that during your match, you're seeing these players in, out, in, out. Football's not like that. So you can't use that same mentality. It's like ice hockey in America. You can change any one of them players at any time. You can have a whole team of 20 guys who all play that in that same game. Do you see what I mean? You can afford to do that. American football is very much the same. Basketball is very much the same. You can't bring that philosophy into football. It doesn't work like
it's
that.
not, but it's not the philosophy of just changing players in and out and that. It's about it's basically sport. They're basically doing the sports science thing, because especially with somebody like Reece James, they're trying to potentially say that in order to stop Reece James from picking up the amount of injuries that he's been picking up.
Yeah, you
For
play him
example,
less.
these are the type of minutes we need to be giving him. And to be honest, to be fair, even if you look at some of the reports, Maresca did go against the club quite a few times. Like there was one
There
time where
you
he
go.
played Reece James 90 minutes in like 3
There
games in
you
a row.
go.
But this is what I'm trying to say. When you keep on getting pressure from the top saying that, oh, you need to be doing
Then
this, or
sack
this is how
me.
you
But
do.
until
Yeah.
then, I'm gonna
So
keep
that,
winning with my
but
consistency. That's it.
this is what I'm trying to say. But it's not as black as white. So with
No, it
Maresca,
is. It is that simple, bro. Look, at the end of the day, yeah, if you've picked me to lead a team and I want to pick the
okay, let
team
me just
I
break.
want to play,
Okay,
then
let me.
sack me.
Okay,
Sack me and
yeah,
pay me my redundancy because
but
you're
this
gonna
is
be
what,
paying a lot of money.
but this is what he's done. But this is the whole point. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. This is exactly what Maresca has done. He said,
But he left
"I don't want to do
mutually.
this."
I want them to sack me. You're not hearing me. Sack me. Because until then, I will carry on doing and playing the way I need to play in it. It don't make sense for me to.
But you
I'm
know,
not listening to
sometimes
these
even if
guys.
they say mutual consent, like I think when sometimes they give you the option to either do this or you can leave by
No,
mutual
I'll
consent.
tell them. Put it in the news. Sack me.
But again, like I'm telling you how business works. Like a lot of clubs, even though the manager might be technically sacked, they'll give you the option. You can see it in Football Manager. Like they'll give you like sometimes if you go to the board and you tell them that you want to do something and they disagree, you tell them you want to leave. They'll give you the option to mutually resign or you can stay.
Nah,
But
I'll
like
stay. I'll stay. I'll make your life hell.
or they'll stay and but then in football as well, like you will see certain situations where maybe a team's going through a bad run of form. The manager would go into a situation. They'll give the manager an ultimatum where you can either mutually resign, which is better for your reputation because it's better
Right.
having your record that you've been sacked rather than if you just mutually left the club.
All right, cool. But then when you sack me, you're gonna have to tell them why you sacked me, innit?
They
If you're
don't.
sacking me because I want to be consistent, then
They don't have to say anything. That the board can just
of
say
course
we've
they don't have to
decided to.
say anything. Yeah,
The
but
board could just say that we were unhappy with results and we've decided to go our separate ways.
okay.
They don't have
But
to
do you
tell
think
anything.
Chelsea would have been upset if they were catching mad results? All right, let's put it this way, yeah. If Chelsea right now was sitting in Arsenal's position or second right now, yeah, and Maresca's doing whatever he wants to do, you think they're sacking him? Of course they're not sacking him. Of course they're not sacking him.
Again, though, with any like with anything
Bro,
in
people are saying
mentality,
that because he won the World Club Cup, that should have saved him. You mad? That's a Mickey Mouse tournament. That's like literally the League Cup, but for the world.
bro.
Do you see it?
But what
It's
I'm saying is,
pre-season.
with certain things like that, like it's like with any job, bro. Like if you just went into your workplace now and there was a specific system of the way things are supposed to be done,
And I
and
can find the way that it works better.
you just think there's a way that works better for you, and you just go around doing the thing that works better for you. If your manager comes back to you and tells you, no, this thing needs to be done in this way, at the end of the day, it's not your business. you have to work within the
I'm not gonna lie
confines
to you.
of the
See
way.
me, I'm different. All right, that's where me and you are gonna have to agree to disagree then, because I'm different. If I'm telling my manager it works better this way, and I'm showing you it works better this way, and you don't want to hear it, that's a you problem. I will keep doing it until you have a big problem with it. And
But
that's
this,
me personally, innit?
but then again, like I said, with those type of things, it's only gonna end.
Because
It's gonna end one way at the end of the day because
it could end one way, but you have to remember there are other people seeing these things as well. There are other higher ups. You think, yeah, the owner of Chelsea Football Club would have a problem if Maresca had been able to do what he
yes,
wanted to do?
I think
Yeah.
I think he was the one that was having the problem. I think him being the American, I think he's the one that brought
Who
in.
knows nothing about football properly? Exactly. There you go.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with him knowing about football. It's about him having this idea about how the club should be run and bringing these
Ah,
people in
cool. But
to make
this is the
these things
problem
run. Like
then.
this. This is what I'm
Then
trying
the
to say.
problem is it's not the managers. Then the problem's not the
Exactly.
managers.
From
The
what was
problem is the
said there,
hierarchy.
yes, that's what I'm trying to say. The problem wasn't a Maresca problem of him deciding I want to be rotating my team every 5 seconds and we don't know what starting lineup is the best. Like it wasn't him. It was the coaches, sorry, it was the medical team and the higher ups saying that this is what we need to do. These are the players that we need to rest in order to keep people at optimal condition. These are what we like. It was too much
Yeah, then that's
dictatorship.
dead. Then that's
So
dead.
I understand why he left, and I don't blame him for like after hearing that and looking at how the season was going and just loads of
Yeah, that's
different things
dead.
like that. It made
That
it
is the
made
deadest source.
it made sense why he left. So I can't even blame him to be honest. And I think yeah, with that
Yeah,
type of situation, it's
I think
difficult.
Chelsea
It's
messed up with
difficult.
him then. 100% because
I think they did. I think he was a good manager. I think he's a very good
because
manager.
if you look at other clubs, yeah, and I'm going to use Tottenham as a perfect example. Tottenham have given Frank free reign to do what he wants,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with you, Brentford are still playing better without him and without their star players. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. It's the truth. Do you
Yeah.
see it?
That's
So
because
it doesn't.
Brentford are just a team that is I think right now they're probably just an autonomous team. They have
Do
their
you know who?
philosophy. They know who they
Yeah,
want to
it's
sign.
like
They have
it's like
their way of playing, and they just recycle,
yeah,
money
it's
ball,
like
money
Bright. It's
ball,
like
and then
Brighton. It's like
yeah,
Brighton.
yeah,
Brighton are another Brighton, Brentford, and
yeah,
even Bournemouth to
yeah. All those
a
three teams,
slight
yeah,
little.
very, very
Do you see what I
similar.
mean? Very
Yeah,
similar run. This is how all football clubs should be run. If all football clubs would run like these three, I'm telling you now. All right, not maybe so much with the bigger teams because it
yeah. The
doesn't
big,
really
not the
work
bigger
because
teams. Just those
with the
those type of mid-level teams. Yes.
because with the bigger teams, obviously you want these players to actually stay with you, unless they go into someone like Barcelona, Real, or Bayern in that respect. And even Bayern haven't really got that kind of pulling power. They're buying a lot of older players, but they still have the mix of the young ones in there. You know,
I
like
know, but
Carl in there.
Bayern still do have pulling power. They just signed Kane. They signed Elise. Like these are
No, but this
players.
no, but this is what I'm
These are
saying.
players that I think anybody in the world would want. They
Oh, of
signed Luis
course, would take
Diaz. They
yeah. 100.
signed Luis Diaz from Liverpool as well, who just won the
No, but
league. So
what
they're
I'm
able to
saying
sign
is,
him. They
yeah,
got
but what
pulled.
I'm saying is players like, I mean, pulling like, all right, cool. But me personally, I'm taking Real over fucking over Bayern in it. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. I'll
Real,
probably start at Bayern a lot more, to be fair. But I'm
Real
taking
are a
Real
bigger
over.
team. Real are a
This is what
bigger,
I'm saying.
but
Like in
that's
the
to
tiers
do
of it,
that's to do with reputation more than anything, though. In terms of actual
sorry, that's what I should have said then.
Yeah, in terms of reputation, yes. In terms of actual team, I'm not sure Real Madrid as a team are better than Bayern Munich as a team right now. I
Oh
think
no, Bayern right now, they're a problem. I know
yeah,
they're a
they're
problem.
one of the
I
best. They're one of the best
But
teams right
you
now.
have to remember, with the mix of the players that they've got there, their players are more on the over 25 side than they're on the under 25 side. Do you see what I'm saying? Like me, I'm always a big advocate of, when people say you can't win anything with kids, I like the younger players because you can keep them for a
Yeah,
generation. Do you know what I mean? You can keep
yeah,
and
of
work with
course.
them and work with them and work with them. Add maybe one more in there, work with them, work with them. This is why, for me, Chelsea, this is why I'm upset that Maresca left, because Chelsea is that team. I know people call Chelsea like Mandem FC and all of that, but they are. And if you get it right with that current squad, whew, they could go far.
But then again, that's one of the problems with Chelsea. Chelsea again, with them signing all the young players, they think that they're playing American sports where they just get a group of young players. They think they're playing draft. They think they're just drafting players,
No,
and
100%.
that's what they think. So I think that's again another problem that Maresca had, where you're just buying me all of these young players, but where are the leaders? Where are the people that are going to be galvanizing the team if things are not going well to drive us forward and be able to help us in difficult times? Where are your Thiago Silvas? Where are your leaders in the squad that would be able to do this? And I think that's one of the reasons, again, other than the chopping and changing, but I think the main thing that Chelsea have struggled with this season, the reason why they haven't been consistent, is the fact that they just have loads of young players, which naturally young players have less concentration, are less consistent because they're younger. As you grow older and you develop your game and you understand and you develop that consistency, that's when you start hitting your peak. Like, even look at Ronaldo as an example. When he was a lot younger, he used to waste a lot of movements. He used to be doing all the step overs, all of the tricky dribbles and all of this, and just running all around the pitch. But then as he got older, he realized, I don't have to move as much and do all of these tricks. I just need to make sure that I'm making the right runs, getting in the right positions. And if I'm doing this consistently, my numbers are going to skyrocket. So that's why he went from a winger scoring 10, 15, then going up to 20 goals a season, to going to Real Madrid and averaging 60 plus goals a season for like 6-7 years. So like that's the main difference. So yeah, I think their
No,
main
I get
issue
it.
is the consistency that they have with the younger players. And I think if you're going to buy a lot of young players and have all of these players in the squad, you need to at least have some people that are leaders in the squad to be able to guide these players through the tough times and into the right type of situations, because that would lead to more consistency than what we're seeing with Chelsea right now. But what I'll say, let's end on this point. Let's get back even to the topic, because the main thing that we were supposed to be talking about
Mm.
is United, the obviously sacking of Bruno Amorim. What do you think about the caretaker situation? Who do
Hey,
you
bro,
think
Ole at the wheel. I already told you this.
you want it
I'm
to be
not
Oli? Yeah.
heartbroken. I want it to be Ole, bro. Ole at the
Okay.
wheel, man.
It's Oli.
Give him
So
that chance that he deserves.
you don't think you want to give a chance to Fletcher or any of these people?
No, no, no. Look, it'll be interesting to see what Fletcher does in it. Like,
Yeah.
the United guys who have come in and, been coaches and, been managers and come in and had an effect. You can see it. You can see they run with the philosophy of what Alex once had. So you can see the mindset is there. So for me personally, more power to him. I hope it works out well for him. I hope he just keeps it simple, and plays to all these players' strengths. And by the end of the season, we're sitting Champions League spots. That's really what I want. If we don't get that, do you know what? I won't even be too heartbroken, because he's had to come in halfway through a season and see all this madness go on. Do you know what I mean? As long as he's not finishing. Look, I'll even take Conference League right now. I just want some European football, man. I'll watch football on a Thursday night. I don't even mind.
All right, cool. With me, I think with when it comes to the interim type of manager, I don't really care who becomes interim manager. In my opinion, it can be Fletcher. It can even be Ollie back. I'm not really too fast. The only thing that I would say is, if it is Ollie back, I don't want it to be a situation where he ends up doing well like he did in his last interim job, and then they just end up giving him the job again, because we've already seen long term, in my opinion anyway, that doesn't really work. But if he wants to come in, if he wants to come in as interim, be the substitute teacher for a little bit, then yeah, by all means, Ollie, come in, be a substitute teacher again, get some good results, and then you can go back to wherever you've been doing recently after you've left the United. But yeah, that's what I'll say. Actually, he went to Besiktas to be fair, and then he got sacked from Besiktas as well. But to be fair, like I said, Ollie was one of my favorite players. So I don't even like talking to him about him in this type of way, because he was one of my favorite players when he was playing for the team. But yeah, I just think in terms of a management side of things, for caretaker manager, yeah, no problem at all. If they want to hire him caretaker, by all
Hey,
means.
Ole at the wheel, innit?
But,
Just remember, we missed out on them
as a
players because
full-time
Ole
manager,
wasn't allowed.
no, thank you. I've seen that doesn't work in my
Hey,
opinion.
look, as I said, Ole
I think
knows football, innit?
I think in my choice, I think, to be honest, we've already seen what Ollie can do. I think if Fletcher's there, why not just give Fletcher the chance to see what he does for the season? That'll develop him as a coach. You never know. Promoting from within sometimes works. You never know how good a coach somebody is until you give him a chance. So maybe you give him the 6 months, see how well he does, and maybe if he actually does well, maybe we can see what he can do. But That's what I'm saying. So if we're gonna do something like an interim, at least give it to somebody that has a potential that I know that could potentially have maybe some type of inclination to at least improve and do better in the future. With Ollie, I've already seen the finished article of what he is as a manager. So I'm done. I'm pretty much all figured out with that. But Fletcher, I'd like to see what he can do. So apparently, I've been hearing some things about people saying that he is actually a very good coach. I think even Alex Ferguson walked in on him training like the youth team, and he was saying like the things that he was doing, like he was a very intelligent, tactical manager as well, like very in depth in the details. So sometimes you never know. Promoting from within could potentially be a blessing in disguise. To be honest, the most successful manager of all time, or well, first or second, however you want to place him, Pep Guardiola, was an appointment from within. He was managing the B team, never managed a team in his life in terms of a high level team. Came up from the B team, won the treble his first season, and then hasn't looked back since. I think there's only been one. I think Pep Guardiola, the longest he's ever gone without a league title in his career is only one season. After one season, he always wins it at least the following year. So, but I'm not saying that Fletcher will be that, but I'd rather give it to somebody and see somebody actually grow with potential than just giving it to Ollie again. But in reality, I don't really care who they put in charge as caretaker. Let them see out the rest of the season, then we'll make our decision. But we're not getting onto. We'll get onto full-time managers on another topic because I think this one's gone for long enough. But I think we'll go more in depth about full-time managers. Who you want to be full-time at a later date. But yeah, there's definitely some options about. But I think we can definitely get into that topic in another discussion. I'd say. But yeah. But any last thoughts about anything, people?
West Ham are 1-0. Please, God, please see this game out, bro.
Listen to this guy. I long for
I was
West Ham.
listening to you in the background watching West Ham, and I'm just like, bro, I swear down, like I don't know, watching your club, like my nerves are on fucking eggshells, bro. It's like it's insane, bro. Yeah. I swear to God, I want to like measure my stress, like.
To be honest, you're under a different type of stress as well. Like we're kind of
you man are playing championship football next year.
We're busy complaining about just United just playing like shit football and not like challenging for titles. You're concerned that your team can get relegated. Like that's a different.
Bro, they are getting relegated, man.
That's a
Wolves
different
won
type
their first game the other day. Hey, what?
That's a different type of stress. Yeah, that's a different type of stress. Thinking your team's gonna play in the championship.
You cannot come for me when you're a Man United fan calling for Ollie back, brother.
100%.
That's like me saying West Ham went to League 2. But you lot have gone for 120. I'll get you another day, bro. I'll get you another day. I heard everything you said.
Wrexham next year, bro. I enjoy that.
Ball progression and all them things there. I'll come in for you, bro.
Chavi ball progress. I don't know what that's
you enjoy it.
Like they will carry the ball forward.
That's all I'm saying, innit? You enjoy that, yeah? Remember I said that, innit? West Ham are playing Wrexham next year, innit? Watch that. Right. Watch Ryan Reynolds on the sidelines watching West Ham get pumped by Wrexham.
Bro, I don't watch championship.
I am evil. I am evil. I know.
Do you know what? Do you know what it is sometimes though? You know sometimes with the championship though, it can sometimes be a blessing in disguise. You never know. Like there's a lot of teams.
Let's not get there. Let's
go get into that. Boys. Yeah, I think let's wrap it up. It's actually been a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But
on that note, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for the late invite, lads.
Yeah, come on. See us tomorrow. We'll run through the list of candidates for United job.
We can do that tomorrow. Yeah, we can go through that tomorrow.
Don Salsa, been a minute. Good to see you, my brother. AU, peace, my bro.
Yeah, take care, man.
Yeah, we'll be back again. We'll be back again within the week, I'd say.
Love boys. In a bit.